start off by telling us a little bit about the film and where the
Sure.
idea came from?
Right, so the movie is about choices and about the choices that you make and can't take back. And there's a big twist at the end that is about a very scary choice that the hero made. But throughout the movie, it's saying that you have to be careful when you maybe take the easy road, right? This technology that is being produced in this movie is not unlike the technology we already have that allows us to only post photos of ourselves when we're having a good time. You know, if I look at or if you look at my feed, you know, on Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat, you might say, "Wow, he's so happy. You know, he only ever has great meals, and he only ever goes out with his friends." And that may not be the truth. And I think when you choose to make a certain story for yourself, if you begin to believe it, it can become a trap.
So, as a co-writer, would you say that was part of what drew the inspiration?
Yeah, so I wrote the story, and then I worked with Alyssa on finding the story parts that were the most exciting, I guess, to me. And so she helped me figure out to trust, if you will, my instinct that one character was more interesting than the other. And so that helped us then sort of shift. Originally, the story was as much about Issa as it was about Sophie. And after working with Alyssa, we decided to focus on Sophie.
So, during the production, what would you say were the major challenges?
Um, well, you know, the producers, we would probably beg to differ, but you know, you always want more time. You always want more time so that you can discover things. We don't, when you're working with a smaller budget, there are trade-offs, right? So the benefit is that you get to tell a story that's pretty raw, that's very, I think, surprising and shocking. Most times when you go to a movie, you either know how the story's going to end because you already know the story, or because in the first 3 minutes they've told you how it's going to end. With a smaller movie, you get to do things that are really almost like evil, right? You get to, you get to play with expectations. So that's the good thing. The bad thing, of course, is you have less time to do things, and so you have to go with your gut, and you have to really trust that things will turn out the best, and I think they did.
So, in the film, there's a lot of suspenseful music playing. Is there a
Yep.
story behind that, or an
Sure.
inspiration?
Yeah, I'm glad the music is being appreciated. Several other people have already commented on the music. This is my second time working with Michael Teller, the composer, and it's been a great process. So I come from a musical background. He was a part of Nine Inch Nails for a couple of years and has done a lot of music, both for pop music as well as for movies. And because we speak a common language, we're able to get a lot more done very quickly. And this movie has a lot of music. So, I mean, there's a lot of cues, and it was fun. I mean, I would go to his studio, and for me, it was a great break to be able to talk about the movie just in terms of music as opposed to everything else that you have to think about, like how it looks and how it's pacing, and are there any issues with the story. With him, it was a musical conversation, which was very pleasurable.
What was it like working with Asia?
Asia is an incredible professional, and I mean that as a compliment. I mean, she is a very hardworking, very careful person. And for me, the pleasure of this movie was working with the actors that we got to work with. I'm somewhat serious about the work that we do, and I want it to be done well. And so to work with someone who is even more interested in perfection is great, because you get to, there's no BS. There's no worries about people's feelings. It's just, how do we make this as good as possible? And in her case, I mean, she's in almost every scene, so she really worked hard. And the movie is her movie. I think she does a fantastic job.
Did you give them any tips to the actors or advice on how to portray what you wanted to see or what you envisioned for the film?
Yeah. I mean, the hardest thing was that these characters were playing, complicated people who aren't, they're not good and they're not bad. They're somewhere in between. So I think my job was just to keep track as best I could of where in the movie they are. Like, is this a scene where you are more of a good person or more of a bad person? And to help them sort of navigate, because that's what ultimately I think makes the movie suspenseful, is that they're not, the bad guy and the good guy. They're how we are in real life, capable of doing some really bad things, but not necessarily bad people.
So what would you want as a director for your viewers to have? What kind of feeling would you want them to
Sure.
have at the end of the film after watching it?
Yeah, the movie ends, as I said before, in a kind of violent way. There's a big surprise at the end. And it's a very uncomfortable feeling. I mean, I just watched the movie with a room full of people at the screening, the premiere, many of whom had not seen the movie before. And you walk out of it and you're feeling, you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed and I think scared. So I think that's effective. I mean, I think, they definitely, I think people will definitely feel very strongly at the end. I just want to make sure that they know that they're going to be scared. And I think that they should know that they're going to be disturbed.
Awesome. And last question, are we going to be seeing any more sci-fi thriller films from you in the future?
I had thought at the end of this that I should probably just do like a very light comedy to get away from spending so much time in the world of people who are behaving badly and then lying to themselves and to each other about it. But now it's been about 4 months or so since we finished, and I'm feeling increasingly drawn towards another dark, suspenseful movie. So clearly the problem is my own, and I have to just embrace it and dig into it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.